Well, folks, I did it again. I picked up two games for repair. The two down here are actually my in-laws. They had an unfortunate water pipe, so I'm holding it right, water pipe break, excuse me, and so I'm holding that game for them and going to make sure it's looking good, but I'm totally drying it out, making sure that nothing's wrong on the inside, but it was working and it's probably fine. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't like sitting in water, thank God. But I did get significantly wet. So a little bit wet on the inside, but that's not what this video is about. I'll be doing Space Invaders later. Um, that's missing a chassis, but this video is about Jr Pac-Man. And picked this up, pretty good price. Kind of going through it. This is actually a conversion kit that happened on this one. So this originally was a Super Pac-Man, and they converted it, whoever it was, the operator at the time, converted it to a Junior Pac-Man. So you can see this is the Super Pac-Man decal, or not decal, but artwork. And this side's in pretty good shape, for its usage. What they did was they'd send the board out, they send the ROMs. They would send the artwork like this marquee and the footplate artwork there at the bottom, and they would just send this decal to stick over the top. Underneath there, it most likely says Super Pac-Man underneath there, or just says Super actually. So they put that decal over and just basically convert to a Junior Pac-Man. The other side, which you can't quite see, but you can see a little bit, like that one's a little more worn, and it looks, besides that, it's overall in pretty good condition. The coin door is rusty. I'm going to have to give that a vinegar bath and restore that. That might be the first things I'm going to do, is put that thing in a tub of vinegar and see how it goes. And this decal is flaking inside here, or marquee, excuse me, is flaking inside here. So that I can just order online and get a replica replacement. Most likely somebody put in a 100-watt bulb here and it got too hot and it started burning the inside of that. Some genius of some real man of genius, that is. So everything else looks good. It's dusty. This is dirty. This is basically filthy, but it looks pretty good. Otherwise, other than dirt, you can see the dirt on the bezel here. And this is what it says. It says monitor works, no game, bad PS. So that's probably bad power supply. So what was most likely happening is assuming this tape is correct, that the board is probably fine. It's just where the power supply is not doing too well. So I'm gonna do a quick look around the back. There's no back door here, but everything looks good. For the most part, I dug out the bottom a little bit, and somebody left me 2 quarters, so I slowly started getting the money back on this. And these quarters aren't that old. This was from 2014. I can see it right there. 2008. And this is probably not very exciting, but yeah, I like to see how long a game's been on. 2013. So in theory, this was working almost a decade ago. So we'll probably check all those fuses and kind of clean up some of the dirt here. The boards look awesome and in immaculate condition, from what I can tell. And the power supply looks really good, but you never know. So what I most likely will do is clean up this transformer a little bit, check the fuses. I'll probably disconnect the power from everything and just check the power coming out of that power supply and making sure we're getting all the right voltages out of there. And if we're not, figure out why it's not doing it and go from there. The monitor is dirty, so it could use a cleaning, but I'm not going to touch it if it works. So we will probably hook up assuming we're going to check the power going to the plug, which this plug right here is we'll make sure there's the right voltages coming out of that, and we will also make sure that we will test this monitor with a little test pattern generator to make sure that that's ship shape. But otherwise, this is going to be a pretty good steal, assuming I can get it right working right away. So pretty excited to dig into it. One thing I noticed too, I did look over it too. To pull this out, I need to get a lock for it because the lock is gone. This is disconnected, so that light bulb won't work. It's got the coin mechs in there, which is awesome, but somebody parted this a little bit and took the chute out. So there's a chute that goes from here, or a slide, if you will. It goes from where the coin enters and goes into here. They're gone on both sides. You can see them here on the Space Invaders, and this, of course, is missing the medic. So it's like can't have best of both worlds, right? You know. So there's keys. What? There's keys in here, bro. I may be able to get in the back. I didn't think I could get in the back. So cool. And of that one, because like the guy's like no keys, and there's actually keys in the door. Funny. And so yeah, I don't know where to find these. I've looked up online a little bit to see if anybody's got them. That bulb is probably blown. It looks dark. And I'm probably gonna hit up some people on forums to see if anybody's got those parts laying around and see what I can find. But like if that's my worst problem, that's easy fix. So sweet. So Jr Pac-Man repair coming up. All right, I got the coin door apart. Took out all the coin mechs, lights, whatever. I've got the coin light windows here. They're all rusted too. Coin mech holders need it. The buttons are still attached to it. One doesn't move, so we're gonna let them soak. We're gonna let this door soak and then get all that rust off with a wire brush. After it soaks for a good 2 days, I took off the metal plate. The metal plate's not salvageable. I'm gonna this you can get online for $10, so just order another one of those. And basically, yeah, we're gonna start pouring it in. And then I'm gonna flip this in like 12 hours. I'm probably gonna use this whole bottle. I'm actually gonna rotate. I'm gonna flip it right now because the outside's worse than the inside on this, I think. So I'll just start with that. Actually, that's gonna soak better. I only need to flip it. Just keep working around. So these are gonna have to be swished around a little bit because those buttons are in the way. And then the important thing is to cover it so that way it doesn't smell up the whole garage or the whole house. All right, this is what the door looks after the vinegar bath. It looks like crap, right? All that rust still looks like it's there. It's technically there, but it's a lot smoother than it was. I'm probably gonna paint these now, but I'm probably gonna do one more rinse off. Just get a little rinse on it. Other than that, so I'm actually not gonna paint it right now, but I'm gonna rinse it and then we'll paint it and go from there. All right, looking at these coin mechs, this one goes up and down just fine, so I'm not gonna really do anything for this one. And but this one doesn't want to move at all. And if you open it up, this little piece is not moving. So I'm gonna lube it with some 3-in-1 oil and hopefully jar that thing loose because that piece is just stuck there. It hasn't moved for a decade, and that should loosen it up and get this thing to move. Yeah, look at that. Took that. Now it's nice and snappy. Now it moves. So I do this. Oh, wrong side. And that fixes that. Sweet. Now we got a working coin mech. All right, now we're to the fun part, trying to see if this thing will actually work, which I doubt it will, but we got to start with the basics first and check for power and make sure that we're not setting bad voltages anywhere. Again, that sticker said bad power supply. We're assuming that's what that meant, which means that board back there. But we want to make sure that there's proper voltages coming from this power chassis assister transformer person thingy. So we're checking that, and we're checking to make sure the voltage going into the monitor is good too. So I got the multimeter busted out. It's actually on the wrong setting right now. And I've got my little cheat sheet here of all the different voltages I need to check. So, well, we'll check them one at a time and see how it goes. So I got on here a little buzz, which means it's not bad. I'm checking the voltage going into the monitor. It says 129. That's a little high, but that's expected. Remember, there's no load. It should be about 115, so that'll probably even out once we plug it in. Up next is that plug and see what the voltage we get there. All right, checking the power going to the bulb. That says 122. It should be 115, so that's probably right. The bulb did not light up, so either the bulb's bad or the starter in the back is bad. I'll probably replace those, and if that doesn't work, I'll replace it with an LED strip, which would definitely will work. Checking now that plug. All right, looking deeper here. I did check voltages on there. They seemed okay going from the transformer to the power supply, but then I decided, like, just for the heck of it, let's check the fuses at F2 and F1. And I took the F1 fuse out. I've got it right here. And if I got my multimeter here on connectivity, and well, it's not going to be easy doing it that way. Let's just do it on the knees. Nothing. Doesn't do a thing. I connect them. Yep, you hear that? That connection works. This fuse is blown. Shocker. All right, I'm gonna grab a good one and see what happens. All right, I got a brand new one. Let's test it. Yep, that one works. 1/4 amp slow blow fuse is what we needed. So we're gonna stick that in there before we try anything without breaking the glass, which is all right. And let's just chopstick it while it's in there and see, make sure it connects. All right, we got a connection. So that was blown, and that'd be a shocker if that was the only thing wrong with it. So we'll see. I'm going to turn the power on, and we still have it disconnected from the board, so that way we don't blow the board in case there's something wrong. And I'm going to check the voltages here once I start it up. So come back and see what happens. All right, I haven't turned it on yet, but I'm going to see if that fuse blows. I'm going to turn off the lights here and see if that fuse blows when I turn it on. Maybe you guys can see it, but let's watch it and see what happens. Oh, she burned up. Boom. Instantly burned. Something's wrong with that power supply. Okay. Well, since that fuse is blowing, I'm going to have to rebuild that power supply. Now, I could argue that you could put in a switching power supply there, and I could do that, but I kind of like to do the old stuff, and where's the fun in just putting a switching power supply in there? So that's what I'm going to do. I ordered a cap kit, or not cap kit, but a rebuild kit for this, because it'll take me longer to figure out which piece is wrong, and just do it and replace all the pieces that are potential failures on a board like this, and then see how it goes. And we'll come back after we get that in the mail. All right, figured that we're done with the power board for now until we get more parts in. We're going to check out the monitor. I've got it plugged in there at the red plug. I've got the test pattern generator hooked up all the way into the into the monitor there. And we're going to turn it on and see how it goes. I got to get the cord out. I put the cord in because I thought I was done and realized I wasn't quite done yet. One more thing to check today, at least. Because if the monitor doesn't work, I can order a cap kit for that too. It's pretty dirty, but we'll see. Gotta plug it in. There's some stuff on here. All right. And I hear the tube kick in. We have neck glow. Let me turn this off. I don't see neck glow. That's not a good sign. Let's look at the front. But we do have an image. So we need some focus and stuff like that. But I'm not really going to tinker with it too much. Well, I lied. I'm going to tinker with it a little bit. You can see the Jr Pac-Man burned in here. That's kind of cool, but kind of not. So the thing about over focusing on this is that you could spend a while trying to get it just right, and then you plug in the game and it'll look different. So you can get the colors at least matched up in the focus, but the height and the width are kind of, anybody's guess. So I'm going to tweak these settings a little bit, and but this is good news. At least the monitor is a working monitor. So yay. So I decided to work on the monitor. The parts came in from the monitor. I've got this Wells-Gardner 4900, K4900 monitor and chassis, and I've got it off. It was kind of a bitch to get off, a little harder than I thought, because there it is on the floor here. I've got the neck pointing towards the game, so nope, somebody doesn't actually trip on it while I'm trying to fix this and replace all the caps. But it was kind of a pain in the butt to get this this little plug out right here that was attached to the monitor. Those you can see those 4 prongs right there. It's annoying, but it's out, and this is extremely dirty. Look how filthy that is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump it in some isopropyl alcohol, some rubbing alcohol, and give it a little cleaning. I normally don't go crazy, but this is kind of bothering me. It's really dirty. So we're not gonna do a thorough cleaning. We're just gonna clean it so we can actually read the letters and stuff. So yeah, probably seems kind of weird to dump alcohol or any kind of liquid on these things, but this dries in like, I don't know, 30 or 60 minutes tops, and we're just gonna dump it, and we're gonna get some dirt off there, and we're gonna rub it down. Be back in a bit. All right, I got more lights, and I've got my station set up here with all the soldering station, fume sucker inner, and the desoldering gun. And this is pretty dry now. I took a little toothbrush. There's the toothbrush and tub that was from after there. I'm keeping it there in case I need to clean something else. But now we can really read the blue, green, and red there on the neck board here. So when it comes to changing colors, it's going to be better. But this is pretty much bone dry. It's only been an hour. This back looks worse than it is. It's fine. Trust me. But yeah, this didn't need to happen, but I just cleaned it off a little bit. Same thing, the back of the flyback here. It's not perfect, but I just wanted to clean it up just a little bit, just to get it at least looking easier to read, at the very least. So now it's time to start removing these caps and putting in this brand new cap kit. I'm not going to film all that, because if you want to watch somebody replacing caps in a cap kit or in a chassis like this, you can see like 100 videos on YouTube about it. So I'm going to get it done, and I'll be back. All right, capping complete. Not that it's very exciting to look at, but all these caps are in. You can see the X's where I triple checked my work. You always want to make sure you have the right microfarads, voltages can be higher, but microfarads, you can see all the make sure you're in the right positions, and make sure the polarity is right, make sure the positive negative polarity are right, and making sure you put the right ones in the right spots. Double check your work. That's all I gotta say about that. All right, putting it back together now. All right, I have the chassis back in the monitor. I have it hooked up to power. I've unplugged
from the power supply to the game board. Like it's like doubly disconnected. I disconnected it there and I disconnected it. You can see that yellow plug. So they're trying to isolate this game board from everything bad happening. Power supply is going to be the next thing we'll be working on. But connected the power here, hooked up the ground. Got the test pattern generator coming in right here. And this is always the hardest part, is turning it on and hoping you didn't make it worse. So I think we're all hooked up. We're good. All the caps seem good. I turn the colors to at 50%. Let me turn this screen down to the focus. I'm going to leave there, but I'm going to turn the screen all the way down and then up, down. And it's right in the middle now. And the screen, it kind of does a little brightness in a way. I have to go. I'll be right back. I have to go look up and see where I find the B plus voltage and measure that for later. I'll look at these directions a little closer too. All right, I'm back, and I have the multimeter set up to measure the B plus voltage. You can't quite see it back there. Let me get my light, but it's clipped there. And once I turn it on, I'm not taking it off until I discharge it. And then the black leads just to the chassis, the frame, and okay. If there is, the thing about the B plus voltage is it can't be adjusted. Unlike some other monitors, you can adjust it up and down, but this one's static. And if I have a major issue, I'm just going to shut it down right away and look it up more. But I'm pretty confident it's going to be fine. And I'm going to be sitting here doing adjustments on these knobbies right here, horizontal size and shift and stuff. But all right, I've got everything connected. I'm doing a mental checks in my head here. I think we're all good. I think it's time to give it a go and see if we get a picture. And it's all plugged in. I hear high electricity. 128.9 is pretty good. 129. Okay, let's see the front. We've got a picture, folks. It's blurry as hell, but it definitely needs some focus. It's getting better as it warms up, though. A lot better, actually. All right, I'm going to twist some knobs and tweak some things here, but we are in business. Looking good here with the recap. And we're going to call 129 good on the voltage. And I'm going to twist some things and get this looking good. I'll be right back. So I definitely got the picture where I want it, but it's clear here, but it's kind of blurry on the might not be able to tell it in the video, but and as I was tweaking things, I started kind of whining a little bit. So I think it's going to need a new flyback. I hear some whining noises. It's stable right now, surprisingly, but the more I work on it, the more it doesn't like what I'm doing. And now things are look different because I had it kind of where I wanted it here and stuff. But I mean, it looks really good right now, but on the video. But trust me, it's not. I'll change some of these things here, so that's okay. But you can see it's starting to tweak now, and you might not be able to see in the video, but you can see the red blur in and out and stuff. So I am going to order a new flyback, and that'll take this a little bit longer in this project, and probably should have done that from the beginning, but it is what it is. So we'll let this. I'm probably actually going to turn it off. I'm going to use the monitor to test to see if the power supply works. And I'm not going to put the monitor back in the cabinet until I get a new flyback. And see how, oh, there it goes. It's just totally distorted. So you can see it's got issues. So I'm gonna order one of those, and then now I'm gonna start working on the power supply, or yeah, power supply for that thing. That's room number 2 up there. All right, while we wait for a flyback for the monitor, I removed the power supply and got it on the bench here. Looks really good and good condition overall. There's nothing too crazy that looks on it. It's just slightly dusty. All the dials seem fine, all that kind of stuff. Um, Nothing looks burnt up or anything like that. F1 fuse is gone because it keeps blowing it. So I could track down what's causing this fuse, and it's probably a diode or transformer or one of these bottle cap transistors or something like that. Um, and that would fix it, but I'm going to try to make this thing as solid as possible so it can be sold. And so I got the Midway kit for 90421 27, and we are at 90421. I also bought the cap kit. The cap kit is extremely overkill. Most likely do not need to do this. Most likely these caps are fine. But it's like just a few caps. It's just like it's like 5 of them. It's not that big of a deal. So I'll just do it all and get it done kind of thing. And that way it's solid. And this most likely will solve the problem. Oh, it's got a different edge connector in there too. That's kind of cool. This most likely will solve my problem and fix whatever is shorting out this and burning up this fuse. So time to get back to work. All right, I've got the power supply board back into the game. Brand new diodes, brand new capacitors, brand new potentiometers, brand new transistors. Didn't replace any resistors because those usually don't go bad. They also came with new connectors here, but those look really good, and they're already a square, not circle at the end, so it's kind of hard to get them on and off. I'm not too concerned about those. I could replace them, but I feel like that's useless work. Making sure that these are in the middle right now, which looks like they are. Got a brand new fuse in F1 that was blowing. And everything's shipshape. I do not have, like I see here, I don't have the PCB plugged in. I actually have it unplugged in 2 spots. I have it unplugged up there with that thing dangling. I don't want to risk doing any damage to this board, and I don't think that I'm betting money that this game board is good, but we'll see. I got the game plugged in. I've got my voltage map here so I can check voltages, and I know which dial to turn the voltage up and down. So I am going to turn it on. I have the monitor unplugged. The only thing that would possibly come on would be the marquee in front, and yeah, even the coin lights wouldn't work right now. And even though I think that bulb is burnt out. You can see it dangling there. I still have to finish painting the door and get it back on, but in the meantime, I'm still working on this. So I'm gonna turn off this light, and we're gonna see if the fuse blows or not. Hopefully it doesn't, because then I have a lot more work to do. And there it goes, kapoosh. Well, got some more work to do. All right, while we wait for parts, I've got the first coat of the back of the door getting going. When I say wait for parts, I think this little capacitor is shorted. That's what's causing our fuse to blow. So I ordered a part, surprisingly, from Amazon. They have them on there, so should be here today. But while we're waiting, coating up these doors so we can get them on. Looking forward to it. Also got to start wiring up the lights so they work better. So, and then getting that marquee next too. We're starting to look good. All right, got it flipped over and got the fronts of these things. Might have to do a second coat. We'll see how it looks after it dries, but looking good, looking spiffy. All right, got the new marquee. Got, you can see the old versus the new. The new has got really red border there around the Jr Pac-Man sign right here, which makes sense, I guess. I mean, the size is obviously right, but there's glass right here. We're gonna put over this, and this is gonna get thrown away. You can see through where it's flaking off right there under the floor. But yeah, if you look at this Pac-Man sign, it's definitely got the red highlights there on the letters and stuff. You can see Pac-Man Jr.'s got a little red in the hat there, and this one does not. So I think this is definitely the right colors to match, which is crazy. I must have just really faded that much. But we'll get it in there and we'll get it in the marquee, at least get that light up. And then hopefully by then the door is dry, we can install that while we wait for our parts for the power supply. Well, this is a little harder than I thought. I thought this was just laying on top of here, but this is actually stuck on here, except for the parts that are flaking, of course. So I am going to have to somehow get this off the glass, all this sticker from the old marquee. And I am going to apply some heat first to like recharge, warm up any glue that's in between the glass and the marquee. And then if that doesn't work, we're going to give it a vinegar bath and get it off that way. So a little extra work than I thought, but no big deal. Well, I got the glass super clean. I tried the hot air gun, didn't really help, and it was going to make it harder than I thought. But so I was going to go the vinegar route, and I said, like, I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. And I looked up online, of course, and use soapy hot water, so dish soap and hot water, and let it sit there for half an hour. And it literally just pulled it right off. Like after it's soaked, take your hand and just literally wipe it off like it was dirt on a glass, and it just came right off, and it looks super good. This glass is in borderline mint condition now. It looks amazing. So we're gonna take that marquee right there and put it on this glass, and we're gonna stick it in the game and have a lit up a marquee. Sweet. All right, I've got the power supply on the bench. I've taken the. Well, let me take a step back. All right, I've got the power supply back on the bench. Sometimes it's faster to look up things and see if anybody else have ran into the same issue as you, and see if that can help you get past your problem. I googled basically or looked it up on the codes of video games, like this fuse blowing, and what are other people might possibly running into it on this power supply, this 90421 power supply. And basically, everybody said this C105 can be get shorted sometimes. There's a little tantalum capacitor right here. I took it out and I've got it over here next connected to the my multimeter here. I've got it on connectivity here so I can check. Now, if you hear a beep when I touch the lead, that means it's shorted. And look at that, it's shorted. That should not beep. It shouldn't do that. That means that something's broken inside, and we don't like that. So I'm going to put that over there. And I've got this brand new one that I got surprisingly on eBay, or not eBay, Amazon of all places. And I'm going to get this into my alligator clip here and test, and we don't have any problems with it going bad or no connectivity issues. It's doing what's supposed to do. So I'm going to put that in here and see if that solves our problem. All right, got the power supply back in there with the C105 replacement, 4.7 microfarad at 25 volt in all its glory. And I've got, again, the power hooked up here, but I have nothing connecting going out, so the lights won't work. The only thing that work is marquee. Like I'm double disconnected from the
from the PCB. Don't want to do anything there. And I've got my voltage meter ready just in case. And hopefully we don't blow any fuses. So I'm going to turn off the light. Say fire in the hole, but not literally. The fuse did not blow. Excellent. Excellent. I'm a little surprised that worked, but not. All right, well, let's check the front to see, check out the marquee. Walk around the workstation here. Look at that beautiful brand new marquee. Isn't it gorgeous? Looking good. We're looking great. I got that new marquee on there with the LED background lights, so definitely won't overheat or take up too much power there. Okay, and I also put together the door. These are not in yet to get those chutes in, so I haven't put those in yet, but this is in and this moves. You gotta remember this was all, you know, rusted, if you remember earlier in the video, and now it's good. I got a nice fancy lock in there. Looking good. But I got distracted by that all new painted door. Looking really good though. And that marquee looked awesome. It's the very first time I actually lit it up. Pretty sweet. Okay, now we gotta test voltages now that we know that our fuse isn't blowing anymore. So I'll turn on the light back on. I don't have the monitor hooked up yet. So looking at this sheet, I gotta test voltages on 2, 3, 7, 9. Don't have to work about that, but then the 18 through 22, those are the big ones. 2, 3, 7, 9, 11 are about for the lights. So not too worried about that right now, but we're gonna check 2, 3, 7 and 18 through 22. Okay, so let me fumble my way through this a little bit. I'm going to hook up to ground. What are we going to call ground? We're going to call this plate up here ground for right now. And now we're going to check things. And I'm going to put this somewhere. Let's see if I can put this there without it falling. Look at that. It's like it was meant for that spot. Okay. So we should have -5 on pin 2. And it would help if I turn this to voltages. Right now it's on connectivity. So let's do that. It says 1.6. Don't like that one. I'm more worried about 3 and 5. So let's go to 3. 3 is wrong. It's 1.8. Now I'm going to check it. Instead of AC, I'm going to check normal one just to see if that's any different. DC. Nope. No, it's definitely AC. I'll check 3 and 7. 2. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7 is actually this one because the key is 6. I don't have any good voltages yet. So you can see it's only going 1.7. Let me check the 5 real quick. 20 is key. So it should be 22. It's the bottom. It's all the same. All I'm getting is these 1.6s. So I'm going to start messing with the dials a little bit and seeing what I can come up with and see if I can get these voltages up. I'll be back. Okay, I was measuring the wrong voltages on that. It is actually, if you read this, it says, if I circle it, It is DC power, and I was measuring AC. DC is what we want, and so I turned that DC, and I got the voltages pretty close. Not happy with it yet, so I'm still a little worried. But there's no like crazy voltages coming out of there, at least that we can fry something. So I hooked up the power, and I was hoping to see lights. And I'm gonna go check the power now over there, see if we get voltages coming to these light bulbs, and then get some new bulbs in there and see if they come on. All right, got the multimeter hooked up here. I'm gonna touch the lead. Focus. Touch the lead right here to see if we got power. And that doesn't look like it. What? Did my leads disconnect? All right, two bulbs and a wire brush later. We've got electricity on the bulbs right here. They're 12-volt bulbs. I actually had my last two. And it's not 5 volts going through here because they'd be a lot dimmer. And I have 5-volt bulb, but this requires 12. For some reason this is getting a 1 more volt than the other one, but I don't care. This one, mostly probably because there's resistance inside there. There's rust, and I could order ones, but if I play with this, see how it kind of goes out and in, and the socket's just not perfect. I will see if that goes out later. I'm going to fix that and order a new socket, but turn this light off for effect. Look at that. That makes me happy. Now I got the marquee happy. Now now the next fun thing is checking the voltages, going to the board, and I'm probably going to plug it right in because there was no scary voltages like 200 or not 200, 20 volts or something like that going out. So I'm going to hook up the board and I'm going to plug in the monitor, even though we go around here, we still need a flyback for this monitor to replace, but it's good enough for testing purposes right now. So I'm going to unplug it, plug things back in, and hopefully the board boots up. All right, well, checked voltages and everything. Everything looks good. The voltage on the 12 is a little low. I was like 11.95, but that's the highest I can get it. Feels nervous about that, but or not. I don't feel great about it, but I'd rather have it be too low and too high. And then if something doesn't work, then I can, go back and look at the power supply and see if I can get more voltage somehow. But this is going to be our first test. I have the power hooked up everywhere. It's back in that interface board. The video cable going to the monitor. The monitor's plugged in. The monitor's grounded. Only thing left to do is turn it on and see if we can get a picture from the game. We got high voltage from the monitor. It's doing something. Don't have much of a signal. Nothing. Well, I was hoping we'd get something off of that getting there, but we got no boots whatsoever. So I'm still thinking the power supply is not kicking out enough for the PCB to do anything. You need to have those 12 volts and those 5 volts there. There's definitely nothing on here. Nope. All right. Well, first step is seeing if we can get a little more voltage going into there because I think the 12 volt is not enough. We'll go from there. All right, before we get back to the board and trying to looking at that, we got the flyback in the mail. Let's get into the monitor and see if we can get that focus going. All right, we got the new beautiful flyback into the monitor. Got it all plugged in and turned on. And we have a stable picture. I've only had it on for a few seconds. It's a little fuzzy in the corners. but I'm not too worried about that until we get the game hooked up at this point. Definitely clear in the center. And we can adjust the colors a little bit, but that's looking pretty good right now. I'm not going to tweak the colors too much. Other than that, we've got a nice stable picture, looks like. It could be a little bit more vertical, I think, just a touch. But again, I'm going to play with that later and once the game is actually working. And yeah, I like what I see though. We're going to let those falling blocks fall for a little while and wash it, but you might see that little distortion there with the colors, but that's not normal. That's just the camera making it look funny. But yeah, super set. The monitor is 100% fixed and working now, which is awesome. Maybe I'll turn up the brightness a little bit more, but I could tweak that. Some people might be wondering about this burn-in. There's not much. There's nothing you can do about that. It's unfortunately it's like the game got stuck or something, and it there's it just got literally burnt into the screen. The nice thing is there's a filter that lays over the top of this, like a film. I don't know how to describe, but like a shroud, in a sense that kind of like maybe like a silk screen. There's probably a better word, but I'm not finding it. But go over the top of this and it kind of blends that out, and all you see is the game, and which is going to be fine for our situation. But monitor's looking good, and now it's time to diagnose that board. I don't have the board plugged in right now, but I will. I'm going to move this monitor inside the cabinet since I won't need it outside anymore because I trust it's working. Basically, I'm just going to leave it going like this for just for a little while, because if it starts tweaking out, I want it out here and I can start looking at it. So, but that's awesome. Bad flyback. The cap kit was necessary too because we had colors issues in the corners too when we first looked at it, if you remember back, and I think there might still be some color issues, or at least color tweaking that needs to happen, but it's pretty dang close. So pretty happy overall. All right, on to the PCB. Well, we got the monitor back in the cabinet and plugged everything in, turned on. We've got a picture. That's a good place to start, I guess. I mean, everybody's like, wow, how are you going to fix this, right? But first things first, we'll just clean the chips and pull them out and reseat them and see if anything changes. Double check the voltages too. All that fun stuff. But getting closer, starting to feel it. All right, I have the Pac-Man board, Pac-Man Jr. that is board. Let's not give any disrespect to the Junior. Out here on the bench is the Pac-Man field kit, as opposed to conversion kit, I think it is. I think the field kit is basically you got the whole PCB. I believe. I'm actually not sure what the difference is. It doesn't really matter in this case. I could probably look up and find it out. Filter board. I'm sure there's nothing wrong there, but we're going to lift. This is definitely a CPU. This has got game data. More game data over here. It looks like there's been a little work on this board with all these sockets on here. There's logic chips. Don't know what these two are. I haven't even looked up anything yet on these, but I'm just making educated guesses on some of these things. These logic chips have been either swapped out. That says 1983, so that's probably original. But yeah, we're just going to reseat some of these, clean them off with a little bit of fine grit sandpaper just to kind of freshen the legs up and see if it helps. It's
It's going to be a long shot if it helps, but that's the first thing you got to do to try to make sure everything's making good contact and go from there. All right, I lifted the chips, gave them a cleaning, especially the big ones. Put them all back in. I'm not optimistic that I didn't refasten the board back in there yet, or at least screw it in. But I have it sitting in there. It's safe and all that stuff. Not optimistic it's going to do anything. I might change a little bit, but I'm not optimistic about it. I'm trying to think of what could have gone wrong in the 10 years that a board sits there like that. It could be a number of things, to be honest. Um, the other obvious thing to check is to make sure the code's okay on those EPROMs, the big ones there with the stickers on them. If this doesn't do anything, that'd be the next steps. And if those all check out, then you got to start probing the board and seeing if what's wrong. So hold on to your butts. Okay, we got high voltage. Let's go check the front. See if we got anything different. Or do we have or worse? Well, it's definitely different. Oh, I saw the word memory for a second. Feels like it's improved. Memory okay. I saw that split for a second. It's like close. That memory okay is actually kind of a really good sign. Gosh, we are very close. It also makes me wonder if the 11.7 volts that's getting there from the 12 volts the problem or not. But I don't think we get this far if well, it's hard to say. We're definitely in a better situation than we were a few minutes ago before I cleaned the chips. The next step is checking the code on the ROMs and making sure all the ROMs are okay. That makes me feel like most of the logic chips are good. So getting closer. Getting closer. That's the good sign. The bad sign is I've got two routes. Well, one route first is just checking the ROMs, which is an easy thing to do and won't take too long. And the other one is to see if, gosh, I kind of want to blame the voltage for the 11, but I think it still would boot anyways. I don't know. If the voltage was off, it would still kind of boot. I think it would still boot if the voltage was, as long as the 5 volts there, which the 5 volt is definitely there. So, all right, let's go check those ROMs. All right, we're still waiting for parts to come in for the PCB for the Jr Pac-Man repair and trying to get that game working. But in the meantime, we can get the door finished. Look at that shiny new Midway logo plate. Video is our game. So cool. This is all lubed up now, and they pushing it out for the coin rejects. Got brand new coin inserts here. Brand new lock. Most of the rust is gone, but there's still some remaining. This brand new lock is sweet. New lights in here. They light up now. The coin mechs were already here, and I got these in the mail from a nice man online. And yeah, so now I get a quarter. Let's see how I can do this. So I had a little issue with the coin not falling through on the left side. The right side, it was working okay. The left side is not. So if I do the right side, get it in here. Let's do it fast. Yep, so that works just fine. It comes out. This side was getting stuck right here. It would just not get past this point. And it was like it wouldn't line up correctly. And the wire's kind of in the way, but it wouldn't line up. That exits from the slide chute there would not fall into the coin mech. And what I did was to get it to line up, and get a flashlight so you can see. As you can see, right, if I zoom in a little bit more, as I drop my quarter, zoom in, you can see the washers right there where the screw holds on the mech holder. There's two washers there, so it pushed it out, I don't know, like an eighth of an inch maybe, and that was pushed it out far enough so I can uh, get the coin to drop now. So I'm going to show you. Oh, get it in the camera view. I'll come out the bottom. And there it is. And now we can put the coin door back. The fresh paint job, brand new lock, brand new plate, and a lot of the rust is gone. At least mostly on the outside, which is the most important part. There's still a rust in there, but it's good enough for sale. Focus. And so if I drop coins in, you can hear it hit the coin box. It's probably kind of loud. Yep, hit that one, and we'll do this one next. All right, we have a working coin door. Pretty sweet. Now we just need the parts for the PCB, and hopefully we have a working game. Okay, I don't remember where I last left off, but I believe I've solved the voltage issue. And the biggest reason is that this power supply is putting out DC voltage, and this board is a field kit board, BA29, and it's designed to transition AC to DC. So if I have DC coming into DC, that's kind of a problem basically. And that's why I was getting low voltage on here and getting some weird things. So like I was getting like just barely under 4 volts, about 4 volts here at this cap, and I have my voltage meter up here at this cap, and I basically, so that was the big deal, right? It's like I needed just to figure out the voltages, and so in order to get the voltages, you had to bypass these diodes. These are 5-volt diodes. So I just put a jumper wire over here and over here, and I put a jumper wire over here. So if anybody wanted to convert this back to just AC to DC, they can just take those out, and everything's fine. But for this cab, this is a Super Pac-Man cab that was converted to Jr Pac-Man. So this is what needs to be done. I am still kind of baffled. Like, did this ever work in a Super Pac-Man? Because you needed that jumper to get the extra. That takes off like these little diodes. This diode right here takes off like almost a full volt right here. So once I put those in, I was able to get to 5 volts, and I had basically nothing on the screen once I did that, and I reseeded these chips and stuff like that just to try to help out. I got them labeled. I also verified the ROMs, make sure everything's good, and just kind of get fresh contact on these as best I could. The thing is that these sockets for these big EEPROMs are not exactly have good reputations, so I'm starting to lean towards I need to replace them. But just to kind of show what I'm at right now. So I turn the power on. I got power, and I got to set this to DC voltage, and we're at 4.98, which is about right. I could turn that up, but that's fine. That should be more than enough to get going. And I'm going to kind of go around the other side to show what I got. So this is what's happening. It's almost booting, but it's kind of scrambled. And you can kind of see words right there. So at the top, you'll see memory okay briefly right there, and it'll go in. So that's like the test screen before it actually gets into the game and starts getting cross edge. So there's something messed up. You can see though, when it does get to that, it's kind of scrambled. So something's just a little off. And I have suspects on what's off here. There's some high pins on this 7F right here, this LS 138, their stock high. And then there's this logic probe. This is part of a sync bus controller. This is very detailed, but I know this is kind of stuff that needs to. I've been going through the schematics and stuff like that, and this all this basically has to work for things to happen. And I basically, first thing you do when you don't know what when you don't know what's wrong, you kind of just go on the internet and see what if anybody has a similar issue. And people are saying that pin 3 and pin 11 on J7, pin 3 and pin 11 on J7 there were or 7J are a problem with their clocks. So I got the logic probe hooked up here at 5 volts. And if I hit pin 3, it's pulsing, and it pulses like a normal pulse. If I hit pin 11, it's a weird noise, and it sounds awful. So I ordered that chip because I don't trust it. And I can't. I'm going to turn this off right now because I don't need to keep running, but I don't trust it to be correct. And it could be working fine, but I also don't trust these sockets underneath here. So I'm going to replace the sockets under these chips for sure. These 5, and then under this Z80 here. This is the CPU. These are all game code right here, and then this is uh, the object ROMs that have basically sprites on them and stuff. So I'm gonna. This is only like 8 sockets. I did it on a pole position once. That was 24, so this is not nearly as bad. I might do these two. These are RAM chips, I found out. These are smaller, but they seem pretty good, so I might just leave those alone. But yeah, I'll probably do those two. Once I lift them up, I'll look at them and see what they look like. But um, these seem pretty good though. When I kind of looked at them before, they're not less to go wrong kind of things. And I'm also probably going to check all these ones that have sockets already. I did check them once. I kind of did the up and down on them. It didn't really help. I actually replaced this one because this one was all rusted. I actually have a brand new chip in there. The chip fell apart. There was actually a socket here and a chip. It all fell apart, and I replaced it because I was like, I mean, the chip was just in the legs fell off of it. So I should double check to make sure I put the right chip in there too, because that could be a problem. But I'm pretty sure I did. So while I wait for this chip to come in the mail, because I don't have a 74 LS 74, which is a weird, model. But if I don't have that, or I'm gonna wait for that. In the meantime, I can do these 8 sockets and guarantee really good connection. Um, it's always gonna be kind of a pain in the butt because you could always screw something up and make it worse. Because you gotta be very careful to not break traces as you pull these sockets out. But it's a little easier with the big sockets, so it's not quite so bad. And I've gotten better at it after I did pole position. So, yeah, I'm going to double check that chip, and I'm going to check all these other ones. I'm not going to replace the sockets on them, on these little ones. I'm just going to pull them completely out for a change, and just look inside and make sure everything looks good, like connectivity wise, for that. So that's my plan, and I'll come back after I've got new sockets and chip checking. Yay! All right, I've taken all the old sockets off and put on brand new ones. These are definitely better sockets than the ones that were there before. All that shininess is I used some alcohol, some isopropyl alcohol to clean off the flux residue that I used. Flux is used to aid with the solder collecting. Basically, it's kind of a bonding agent, I guess, best way to describe it.
there's probably a more accurate term, but basically makes the flux or makes the solder clump together a little bit better. I was running into an issue. I tried initially without just after I got all the pins out. I tried sucking the solder out with just my solder gun there. It just wasn't going very good. Let's focus on that gun right there. It just wasn't going very good, and I uh, I just started using some flux, and then the solder came out really good. So I didn't have to repair any holes. The one that was really bad was focus number pin 40 there. You can see a little bit of on the outside left edge there. There's a little bit of solder out there on the edge because that I don't know that pad just like self-destructed when I took it off. But I did test where that pin connects to, and it seems fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my fluke here and kind of test connectivity on the pins. And there's a lot of pins to test and stuff, but you want to make sure that you didn't screw anything up. Another thing you got to do is you got to check, like, let me see if I can do this at the same time. You got to check each one of these pins to make sure that they're not touching each other with, there's not connectivity unless they're supposed to. Some of them, like in the corner, it's about three of them are connected because they're grounded, so theirs are supposed to connect. But most of the time, they're not supposed to touch each other. That's the whole point of the pins. And you also got to touch like across from each other. That's what happened to me in pole position once, where I had like this pin right here and this pin right here touching on accident, and there was like the line that goes underneath in between the two pins. There was a little bit of solder touching this pin and that line, so these were connected and they weren't supposed to be. So uh, there's a couple of cases where they actually are supposed to be connected. There's one over here somewhere. I think it's this one. It's supposed to be connected over here. And so when you hear that, I got to double check the schematics to make sure. I'm going to look at the schematics over here. So after I double do that, I'm going to put the ROMs back in, and then I'm going to read the schematics and check out, just make sure pins are connected where they're supposed to be connected. And then after all that, we'll plug it back in and hope we have an improvement. So right now, let's test these pads, these sockets, I should say, and then if they all look good, we're gonna put the chips in and go from there. Well, I've got all the ROMs back in there, and everything's done. Took a little longer than I wanted to admit. I had trouble with this one right here. You can see some of my shoddy work there with the metal on the outside. Long story short, I did something wrong. I'm ashamed to admit it, but that one took me a while. I had to redo it because I screwed up. But I like triple check the pins on that one. They all connect to where they're supposed to. I check the pins on all these, making sure they all have good connection or connection to the right things even, and not connecting to the wrong things as much as possible. It's almost impossible to check everything, but you can check a lot of it, and I did. The pin 40 on this one was not touching. I had to reflow that one, and now it's working. And yeah, it's time to stick it in the thing stick it in the machine and see if it has any improvement. Cross my fingers. Well, the board's in there. I've got it, my voltage meter on just to double check that. Everything's inside. Actually, I haven't turned this on in a few days, so just making sure I have double check everything. Double check these. Got to make sure these ROMs are in the right order, or you could fry one. Not saying I never fried one before, but I might have. These are all pointed in the right direction. I also did mention I did recheck these little baby sockets. They all seem pretty good. I'm just double checking the notches here to make sure that they're all in the right direction, and I didn't screw that up either. This one was a little weird. There's a little notch there. I guess that's pin 1. This one has like a double notch on there, and if you're still not convinced, you got to check the writing. The writing's always going to read the same direction on these chips usually, and that's all reading down there. So
Yep. Well, what's the worst that can happen, right? It just starts on fire, I guess, is probably the worst. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Here we go. Okay. Not as much voltage as I like. Like, not even close. It's interesting. Well, I got something on the screen, but it's not good, I don't think. Well, they look like little Pac-Mans, don't they? All right, we're going to shut it down and figure out why we're not getting up voltage. Okay, so I am looking into this, or I'm looking into the voltage issue. These little wires they fell off. I didn't do a very good job at, you know, putting those wires on. The wires they just weren't bonding well. So I did got regular like arcade wires for harnesses and stuff, and put that in there. Seems to work better. So and then so I got the voltage back again, but I was still stuck in the same spot. And I was probing around on here. It's basically resetting. It's the reset. The reset pin on 26 is toggling on and off. It just keeps resetting. Reset should, I believe, stay low. It should just keep. It shouldn't just keep hitting over and over again. It should just stay constant. One either high or low. I can't remember what. But so I was probing this thing. I was probing around here, and I eventually got to pins 4 and 5 on this guy right here. He was connected to pin 19 on this guy, and it wasn't doing anything. So I was touching pin 19 to here, and I was touching here, and there was nothing. There was nothing going on. When I touch it now, there's stuff going on. You can hear it, and so I got that fixed, and then I went around and looked at the screen, and lo and behold, we're getting closer. It's like almost booted, but then it froze. And there's a dip switch that would freeze a screen, but I know that dip switch is off. Uh, but so my theory is too that you can see a lot of burn in down here for Junior Pac-Man, the clouds. I think it got stuck here. I think the board stopped working, and then eventually the power supply stopped working too. So I didn't get the best deal. Like I thought I was getting a good deal with it. Like, oh, it's just a power supply issue, but no, the monitor need work, power supply need work, and the board needs work. And we're so close to actually having this working now. I'm super excited, but I gotta keep probing because it's just locked right now. And so I'm gonna keep looking at it and see what else is not communicating nicely. All right, I've rechecked some connections. So the board was basically still resetting. Pin 26 here was constantly toggling off and on, off and on, and should stay on. And I did check pin 19 wasn't connected well to over here, which I said before. And I rechecked again and pin 40 I was always concerned about, but it wasn't connected completely well to this PAL right here. And I triple checked to the connectivity, between those two pins. You can kind of see the solder bulging out there, which is fine. I I really laid the solder on thick just to try to get the connection in there. Basically, it has to go from this pin 40 over to pin 6 over here, which it does now. And I tested it, and it's actually making a solid connection now, which is good. So now we got to boot up, and I've got the game on. I want to see what we're doing. So let's check pin 26. 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's a solid on. It's not resetting anymore. Well, let's go check the front. See what it looks like. Oh, oh, what's that? Oh my, oh, it was there for a minute and we lost. Oh, it's showing the ghost. It's doing it's doing the routine. Oh, I see Tim. Nobody likes Tim. The stork, the clouds are there. Oh, but it's glitchy. There's a graphics glitch. It's dropping the baby from Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. Oh my gosh, so excited. So excited. Oh, there's the game. Oh, snap. I mean, they're still glitchy, but we're 10 times farther than we were when we first got it. The game's playable technically, probably. Let me see if I can coin up. Um, oh, it just rebooted. That's okay. I'm gonna see if coin up works. Where is it? Can't find it. Oh, the coin up worked. Snap. We are officially getting credits. Okay, so good news is we're getting closer. I have to attach the control panel and just making. I don't have. I shouldn't do that. Well, I'm going to. I'm so excited right now. I can barely contain myself. But it's working. I have to check some connectivity on some other things. You can especially there's some pins that are not. They're supposed to be connected that are not. When we did all those things. Those can't even talk. Those sockets. I redid all those sockets, and there's probably a pin or two that's still not connected right. I'm going to go. I'm still going to connect everything here to the control panel, get that in, and I'm actually probably going to put the bezel back on too. Well, we'll see. I'm trying to figure out what the best smart steps here. It's still glitchy, and there's a little bit graphics issue, and I will kind of want to get the control panel on. I'm going to see if I can have the control panel on, but not the screen on. So there's the control panel and the screen. I don't really want the screen on right now because it's kind of nice to be able to look over in the back and see if it's booting up or not. So I'm going to attempt to put the control panel on and see if I can have it on without the screen, which I can. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put the control panel on, and then I can always take the control panel off to put the screen on. So I'm going to do that and just check out controls just briefly, just for funsies, and then I'll be right back. All right, start the control panel on. We're going to just take off this bad power supply and monitor works no game sticker because we're getting there. I'm surprised it hasn't glitched yet. It normally have glitched by now after I turned it on. But power supply has been resolved. The more I turn it on, the more better it gets. This is interesting. Let's coin up. And buttons don't work. Boo. Coin up worked, but the button didn't work. I thought I was going to play a game. It's a little wobbly. I'm going to have to level it too. Wow, it's like the graphics are getting better. That's... Well, I have to figure out why this button doesn't work. I'm going to try 2 buttons, 2 players. 2 credits. Nope, nothing. So I'm going to have to check to see if the button is the issue or if the board is the issue. Or if my connector is the issue. All right. Turn it off and disconnect it and check out this control panel. Okay, assuming I have these plugs set up right, where I'm checking the right wires, this is not working. I've plugged in my multimeter and set on connectivity mode, and this is doing nothing. So I'm going to take a little light sandpaper, this little 800 grit, and clean the contacts on this switch. Just make sure that they're making good contact before I try it again. I'll be right back. All right, I moved the test leads just to the actual switch itself, rule out any wiring whatsoever, and isolate that switch. I took the sandpaper. You can see I scratched in there. I slipped it underneath there, pushed it down, and I went really hard. I use it with 2 hands, but this is basically what I did was just file that metal off and get some fresh metals on there so it can contact each other. And now, boom. Now we got a good one. And I got to do the same over here. Move this to here. And let's see. This may be a little more harder to reach. And bad camera viewing. See if I can get this on here. I think that'll work. I got this a little too far, so it might touch the other one already. All right. That wire's in the way. That doesn't do anything. And if I take this and you see the dirt coming off there, grime, and try it again. Oh, not quite. It's gonna need a little more love, a little more effort. Exciting programming, I know. Yep, starting to chirp. I'm gonna need to. You can hear it for a second. I'm gonna need to take two hands and really get in there and kind of get at it. So be right back. All right, got in there nice and deep like, and now she taps real good. All right, we're gonna put this back in the game and make sure and try to play a game again. All right, the control panel is in place. Game is on. There still isn't any graphic glitching right now, which is crazy to me because it was so glitchy earlier. Let's wait for it to get into a track mode and see what it looks like in the game. I put the control back in with the buttons all cleaned up. There's a stork dropping off the baby. Yeah. And now it should switch over to the game. And it's doing it. Sweet. I have no. Well, they're going to give me sound and track mode. All right. Let's put up a coin. Oh, it just rebooted. Yeah. There's still something I have to check out on the board, but come on. All right, there's a coin. There's two. Look at that, player one ready. And we're playing Jr Pac-Man. Holy cow. No sound. That blue ghost is giving me fits. Okay. So we've got something functional. I still have to figure out. I have to tweak the monitor a little bit, and I'm going to die. I'm going to die intentionally. I have to tweak the monitor a little bit. This is all wobbly too. I have to tweak the monitor a little bit because I feel like it's not quite in focus yet. It's close, but I wasn't really worried about that. Could make the horizontal width a little bit more too, probably. Not too much though. Actually, it's probably fine. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play with the board a little bit because it's reset. See, there it goes. So that's happening. And it's probably causing our resets too. Look at that. And now we're all messed up. So still got some work to do. Gotta figure out why the sound's not working. I got zero sound. I'm testing the speaker to see if we get resistance or at least a connection. I got no connection. There should be something kind of reading on here when I put it in there. I got nothing coming out. So I'm gonna have to take off that marquee and see if it's disconnected up there or if the speaker's just bad. All right, I've got my speaker out here to see if there's any resistance or any connectivity between the two test points here or where the actually wires come in. And you can see I've got my multimeter set to ohms, and there's nothing. It's over the limit. There's no connection, which means there's probably a broken wire inside here somewhere, somehow. And, you could probably say the argument like fix it, take it apart, but this thing is worth like $15. I have a brand spanking new one right here. And if I set my leads to this one, if I can chopstick this, which is really difficult with one hand, apparently. And I go over here and you can see it's set to 7-ish ohms. And 8 is the normal ohm resistance on this speaker. So which means this speaker is good and this speaker is bad as I
test one more time. No resistance going on. When I say no resistance, it means there's nothing flowing through here. So, which means I've got a good speaker that I just bought brand new from arcadeparts.com. So we're going to put this in. I'm very, 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 very confident this is going to fix our sound issue on our Jr Pac-Man right here. So let's get in there. All right, I've got the speaker in. It's got that interference magnet here at the top. I've got the things plugged in here, screws in. Looking good here on the bottom. Got the overall grill. We're going to put the marquee back on top and fire it up. Let's go. All right, I got the game back on. I got everything put together. Got the speaker back in here that you saw before. I got the brand new marquee light and marquee decal up here, or I don't know, just the marquee in general is here, and it looks beautiful. And we're going to see if the sound works here after we turn everything on. Oh, look at that. The sound does work. That is awesome. I may not sound surprised because I was pretty much 100%, I don't know, sure, if you will. I was 100% sure that this was going to work, and I knew I was going to get sound coming out of there because it was a blown speaker, as I showed you earlier. So I'm not going to pretend I'm a good Jr Pac-Man player or any good Pac-Man player, but just to review what I just went through to get all this thing working, because it was a lot. I wasn't expecting this to be quite the actual journey to get this game working as I thought it happened. But like, for example, well, let's just start from the beginning. I'm going to go around the other side and just show you. The when you first got in here, the power supply wasn't working, and the little capacitor right here, 105, was out, and replaced that. And I did a lot more work on this, but I didn't have to, but I did it because it was preventive maintenance. And I got that, and I got 5 volts going into the board. The board wasn't working, and before I got the board wasn't working, I double checked the monitor. The monitor wasn't working either. It was working kind of, but I replaced all the capacitors in there and make sure everything was good. And like I said, it was technically working, but it was working kind of barely. So replacing all the capacitors, kind of rebuilding it, if you will. And now it's brighter than ever, as you saw earlier. And the problem was I got on this thing was that this board had a required 5 volts DC, right? And a Pac-Man Jr field kit normally doesn't come on a Super Pac-Man like this. So we have a Jr Pac-Man field kit, which you can't see, but it's right there. It says field. You can see that in the parentheses, field kit, right? And Jr Pac-Man, or I'm sorry, Super Pac-Man, which is the cabinet used to be, wasn't supposed to get the field kit. I was supposed to get something else, which needed to convert AC into DC. So this little heat sink right here and stuff like that was designed to convert the AC power into DC, which is most of the board needs. Well, we have a power supply that sends DC to the board right away, so there's no conversion needed. And I had to jumper those 2 diodes right there and those 2 diodes to make sure that we had enough voltage coming in, because we didn't need any conversion kit. It just had DC already and stuff. And that was strange to come into this project and try to convert that. So long story short is we got the power supply working. We need to get 5 volts on this board. In order to get that, we needed to jumper the diodes right there and right there to get it to working. Once we got that, we had to re-socket or replace the sockets on these chips because the sockets were degraded. They were old sockets. The new sockets they put in are newer technology, if you will. They're newer. They're designed to last longer, and so those are going to last 40 years, I hope, long before I'm gone. And once we got all that and working and stuff, the sound didn't work, and we had to replace this speaker with a brand new one. And now that we got that in there, the game works and everything is awesome. So fix the power supply, fix the board, fix the monitor, fix the speaker, and fix even the decal that was going bad on here, and replace it with an LED light to make it bright up as awesome it looks right now. So long story short, so many things that need to get this Pac-Man Jr. to work, or Junior Pac-Man, if you will, and now it looks awesome. I didn't do any side art stuff. Like there's this like here, and it's definitely worn down, but this side looks great. They put the decal on here as part of the conversion kit, and I'm just not going to do it because that's all OG, and the next person that owns this game, they can deal with it and they can figure it out. Right now, I'm super happy with the game, super happy it works. Oh, last little thing is super happy with this, brand new. It's not brand new. This is new, restored Midway door kit. Like you can remember in the beginning, this is all rusted and looking terrible. And I did the oil on here, and I did the vinegar bath, and it looks awesome now. I brought brand new coin inserts and stuff like that. It looks great. So hope somebody could take this and learn something. I appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, job well done.